Hi, this is Regeline Sabat, also known as Gigi. You're listening to Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Rob Statham. Rob is a hospitality professional and entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me, Gigi.
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you here today. Now, why don't you start off by telling us about you and where you are from?
Well, my home for now is in Ottawa, Canada. It's the nation's capital. And my background is in hospitality, essentially. When I finished university, I went off and worked in the cruise line industry, had about 5 years in the technology space. And then about 10 years ago, I was at a crossroads as to what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of tech or stay in it. And I was thinking project management. And my late father was very passionate about making wine and beer. He was a home brewer and vintner. He knew a lot about the subject, and he motivated me to take a leap into this field. And it's kind of funny because it was probably the first and only time I really listened to him on career advice. And it worked out. My background since then, I've become a sommelier and a beer sommelier in the field, for lack of a better description. That just really means that you're wine and beer educated. The actual role of a sommelier is somebody who walks around on a restaurant floor serving wine. That's essentially where that comes from. But that's my background. So I got into that field, got really passionate about it, started off with wine. And then I worked for a company that hosted events here in Ottawa, live events. And I realized I was really lacking in the beer world. So I really had to step up my knowledge in that game. And eventually what happened was that progressed, but the business end that I'd worked for was pretty much going out of business. So I had two options. I could take their business over, which the offer wasn't economically feasible, or set up my own shop, which I did. So I set up the Drunken Grape and, ran on this entrepreneur journey yet again 5.5 years ago. And it's been a gradual build. It's worked out. It's one of those things that's slow and steady. Business is always something that takes twice the time and twice the resources that you imagine going in. And it's always something that you're sinking your teeth into. But a lot has emerged for me in this pandemic. There was a lot of competition here in the city, old guard, with live events, like live hosted events. And they did the traditional thing, get a hotel room or a gala or an event center, and then have the host or cash bar, the plated dinner, or the canopies passing through the room. But nobody was really stepping up the game on the wine front and the beer front especially. And our capital here is a big brewing nation. There's like something like 50 breweries in the Ottawa region now. So it's just colossal. So I stepped into the virtual side. I hate to use the word pivot because, everybody's had to pivot with the pandemic, but it actually worked out for me. I'm one of the few people that actually benefited from this. And I don't think that side's going to slow down. I mean, it's opened up things to make it borderless. People who want to have events hosted, for instance, on the wine and beer front for corporate parties, can now do so on a much wider schematic than before. And this is going to change and revolutionize a lot of things. And I'm just glad that I'm part of that paradigm shift. So,
That is
it's just,
absolutely amazing. Now, yes. Now, tell us more about the major challenge that you had to overcome in your life.
Wow. The last few years, I've had quite a few personal challenges. My father passed. I had to deal with that. That happened just over 5 years ago, sort of at the advent or the start of this business journey. And my twin sister passed away about 1.5 years ago. And just it's getting on near 2 years now. So it would be the end of July 2019. And my mother passed in April of 2020. At the start of the pandemic. Fortunately, it was not COVID. It was just long-term illness with Lewy body dementia. So these things really eat at you. And, you really learn that you can be your own best friend or your own worst enemy with personal struggle. And it's one of those things that, I was very fortunate. I had close relationships with all of them. I love them all deeply. We have a good family. And that really helps pull you through a lot of challenges and a lot of struggles. And I use that really to step it up in the past year on the business front. It was an avenue or an outlet for me to express myself and in a way just cope and deal with it. Grief's a funny thing. It's one of those things that you don't really know how it's going to hit you. There's no right or wrong answer. If anyone out there is listening and watching this broadcast that's going through a lot of personal struggles, particularly with loss of friend or family, my heart reaches out to you. Stay the course, embrace the good, and embrace the good people around you. I think those things are really, really fundamental. And it's weird because every journey never really goes on a straight path. It goes zigzags, it goes up and down. I really like to use the analogy of a yo-yo going up a staircase, because you'll have your peaks and valleys along the way. And really, it's to stay focused and stay on the course. And always remember, the great people around you want the absolute best for you. And that for me has been a driving force.
Amen. Very uplifting message. Stay focused and stay the course. Very powerful. Now, Rob, tell us more about a time in your life where you experienced an aha moment.
Well, I would say it probably hit me into this fall. Really, that's sort of the extent of when I started to really come back to myself, but in a different way, as a different person. Really, the loss of my twin had really hit me. I don't think I'll ever go through anything as painful or as dramatic as that ever again. It's like part of your soul and part of your character leaves you, and then your soul becomes whole. And my aha moment really was to absorb some of the good lessons in life and to learn from things, listen more, talk less, be patient, observe things with keen interest, really engage with people, not talk to them, talk with them. And these are some of the things. And the big aha moment for me was really focusing on getting out of your own way. Because if you can get out of your own way, the sky's the limit. We are our own best friend or our own worst enemy. And it's really the choice. That choice is ours to take.
Very powerful. Get out of your own way. I love it. Now, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty deep question, but purpose is definitely fundamental. It's if you're having trouble finding your purpose, first of all, think of the things you don't like to do. That's always the easiest roadmap. Reverse engineer it. It's always hard to instantly come out and think of things that drive you right away. I mean, not everybody's like my older brother who knew that he wanted to be in the Air Force at the age of 5, and he fulfilled it. But or the kid that just has a gift at baseball, football, basketball, and start playing that game at the age of 3 or 4 and execute it. I mean, in most cases, purpose is something that really comes with challenge, and it's not the good times or winning that educates you on that. It's hardship that educates you on that. But purpose, brings passion, and passion brings purpose. They fuel each other. And the other thing is to take action and not be shy about it, because to really achieve anything, the first step is to take action and to brush away that fear. And think about it, the first time you jumped off a diving board or the first time you got on a bicycle. It was very uncomfortable, but you had a purpose, right? You had a purpose to ride that bike or show the rest of the kids when you were 7 or 8 years old that you could jump off that 10 or 15 foot diving board into the deep end of the pool. Well, that never changes. I mean, it's something that, a lot of people try to embrace security too quickly. And honestly, for me, as an entrepreneur, the security comes through fulfillment, fulfilling what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, do we really have any other security? I mean, the certainty, there's only a few things that are certain in life. That's the end of life, as well as, well, the joke is taxes, right? But but with that in mind, it's start to look at where you want to go at the end goal as well. Look at where you want to be when you're old. Like, where do you want to be? You want to be happily retired somewhere doing stuff you love, but still involved in the community. And, really active people never really shut down or retire, but they stay focused and busy. And it's to really see where the end goal is to get to really set up the path. I mean, it helps fill the middle, really, because it's easy to launch something in the beginning, but if you don't have a vision for it for long term, you're going to fall to the wayside. Hours are long as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of mental games because you don't have the security of a paycheck. You really have to have that inner confidence and inner belief to step forward, and it's really fundamental. And these are things that you're not going to learn in school. You're not going to, you're going to learn by having to dive out on your own and really build from your own experiences. But the key is really hang out with successful people, cut off any doom and gloom people, cut off the naysayers, cut off the negativity, just throw it out. It belongs in the trash every Tuesday or Thursday, whenever they pick your garbage up. Just get rid of it, move on from it.
I love it. Very powerful message. Rob, thank you for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast. Now, where can the audience find you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, quite avidly on LinkedIn. I have a budding Instagram page. It's been there for years. I'm starting to actually work it now. Facebook, I have some presence, definitely, as well as my YouTube channel at The Drunken Grape, or The Drunken Grape. And you can go to my website, thedrunkengrape.com. They can hit me up at info@thedrunkengrape. That's probably one of the easiest ways to hit me up, direct email. And, if they have any questions about entrepreneurship, even if they want to have some support on loss of a loved one, I've gone through grief. I can tell you it's not fun, but I can certainly reach out and help. I've lived that journey and I continue to live it every day. As well, they can reach, those are really the best avenues to reach out to me. If they're interested to learn more about why it's wine, spirits, or beer, of course, I'm very happy to answer that too. If they want to have something hosted for them, by all means, please reach out.
I love it. Thank you, Rob. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Rob on all of his social media handles and LinkedIn. And Rob, thank you again for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast. You have a great day.
Hey, thank you very much, Gigi. This is wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.